Hi guys, welcome to MJ Pro YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful petal sleeve you see here using the easiest method. It is so detailed, beginner friendly and very easy to make. So if you love what you see and you want to know how it was achieved, please watch till the end. And if today is your first time on the channel, please click on the subscribe button and also on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Also, don't forget to drop a like and a comment. So I'll go ahead to draft on my pattern paper first before cutting my fabric. And here I have my pattern paper and I'll be drafting on fold. So when drafting, you'll be drafting on fold because the sleeve is an overlap sleeve. So you need to draft on fold to get the sleeve right. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to come down by 3 inch from the top of my paper like this. This is for the puff. So you can make it 4 inch depending on how puffy you want the sleeve to be. Next, I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight horizontal line at that point with my ruler like this. After drawing this line, I'm going to go ahead to take my sleeve length from this line I just drew. So the sleeve length I'm working with is 9 inch. I'm going to go ahead to mark the 9 inch. Then I'll also add 1 inch for sewing allowance, making 10 inch. I'll go ahead to mark the point, after which I will draw another horizontal line at this point like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'm going to go ahead to insert the width at this part. So because the sleeve is a very free sleeve, I'm going to be adding some allowances to my round arm measurement. So my round arm measurement is 11 inch, but because the sleeve is very free, I'm going to go ahead to make my round arm measurement 18 inch, and I'm going to go ahead to divide the 18 inch by 2 because I'm cutting on fold. I'll go ahead to mark 9 inch, then plus 1 inch for my sewing allowance. So this is going to be how wide I want the sleeve to be. So if you want it to be more than this, you can make it depending on how wide you want it to be. Next, I'm going to come over to this point here. So first I'll be going in by 2 inch for the pleat because the sleeve has a pleat. So this 2 inch is for the pleat. Then from this point, I'm going to go ahead to draw my armhole. So I'll just quickly do that using a free hand like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to confirm what I have at this point to make sure that it is equal to what I have on the dress I've already made. So it is equal. I'm going to go ahead to extend it, after which I'll connect this point to this part using my ruler like this. So we are done with this part. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the cap from the top this way. So I'm going to go ahead to draw the cap at the top. This is going to give the sleeve that puffy look you see. So what I'll just do is to use my free hand to draw a slight curve to meet with this part like this. So basically this is what the sleeve is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So after cutting out the sleeve, this is what it is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to open up the sleeve for you to see what it looks like. So you should have something like this when it is being opened. So this part here is going to serve as the center of the sleeve. You need to take note of this part. The next I'm going to go ahead to do is to measure 5 inch from the midpoint of the sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead to place my tape rule this way. Then I'll go ahead to measure 5 inch because the sleeve is an overlap sleeve. That is why you're coming down by 5 inch from this point, but this 5 inch is not constant. Next, I'll come over to this part of the sleeve and I'll come in by my sewing allowance. So I added 1 inch as my sewing allowance. I'm going to go ahead to mark the 1 inch at this point, after which I'll draw a curve from this part down to this point using my ruler like you see me doing in the video. You can use your free hand and you can also use your ruler to draw the curve. So after drawing the curve, this is what we are going to be having. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So after cutting, this is what we are going to be having. I'll not be needing this other part. This is the part I'll be using to cut the sleeve. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut my fabric using this pattern that has been drafted already. So here I have my pattern on my fabric, and I'll be cutting 4 pieces of the fabric. So I have my fabric folded into 4 like this. I'm going to go ahead to place it on the fabric, after which I'll cut it out. I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing for my lining also, but if you're using the same fabric for the lining and the main facing, you need to cut 8 pieces of this. So I'm going to go ahead to cut my fabric, after which I'll cut out my lining also. So after cutting, this is what we are going to be having. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to notch the midpoint of my sleeve. So it is important to notch this part, so do not forget to do this. It is very important. Next I'm going to go ahead to cut my lining using this pattern also. So here I've gone ahead to cut out my lining also, and I have 4 pieces of the lining and 4 pieces of the main fabric. You can use your main fabric as your lining if you have enough fabric to do that. So next I'm going to go ahead to do is to open it up for you to see what it looks like. So I'm going to be placing it this way while sewing. As you can see, we're already having that petal shape already. So next I'm going to go ahead to do is to attach my gum stay to my lining only. So I'm using a thick gum stay for this to give the sleeve more structure. If you're using a soft one, you need to attach to your fabric and to your lining, but because I'm using a thick one, I'll be attaching it to the lining only. So I've gone ahead to attach the gum stay to the lining, and this is what it looks like. I attach it to my lining only. I didn't attach it to the main fabric. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start sewing. So first I'm going to go ahead to join the side of the sleeve this way. I'm going to go ahead to join this side, sewing out my sewing allowance of 1 inch I added. I'll be doing the same thing for the other sleeve too, and also for my lining. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that, after which I'll come back to show you what to do next. So yeah, I've gone ahead to join the sleeve at the side, and this is what it is going to look like. So I went ahead to open up the seam and gave it a good press, and this is what we have. I did the same thing for the other sleeve and also for my lining. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join my lining to the main fabric. So I'm going to go ahead to place my lining on my fabric this way, making sure that the good face are facing each other. After placing it, next I'll go over my sewing machine to close up this side. So I'm going to go ahead to sew this part from this point down to this other side. After sewing it, I'll go ahead to top stitch on my lining, after which I'll give it a good press, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So I've gone ahead to join my lining to my main fabric, and this is what it looks like. I also went ahead to top stitch on my lining. I turned it over and gave it a good press, and this is what we have. As you can see, it's looking so neat and beautiful already, and this is what the other sleeve is going to look like. So then I also went ahead to close up the opening at this part, so you will need to close up this opening at this part of the sleeve also. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to place the sleeve on each other this way, making sure that the notch parts of the sleeve are meeting. So it is very important you notch the midpoint of the sleeve so you don't get confused at this point. Next, I'm going to go over my sewing machine to close up this part of the sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead to fold it over for you to see clearly again. So you fold it this way, making sure that the notch parts are meeting at the midpoint. Then you go over your sewing machine to close up this part, from this part down to the other part. So this is what you should have when you overlap the sleeve. So the sleeve is basically an overlap sleeve. So I'll quickly go over my sewing machine to do that, and I'll do same for the other sleeve, after which I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after joining the side together, this is what we are going to be having. As you can see, the sleeve is looking so beautiful already, and our petals came out very well. This is what the sleeve looked like, and this is what the other one looked like. So the next thing we are going to go ahead to do now is to pleat this part of the sleeve. So remember, while drafting, we went in by 2 inch for the pleat. So you are going to go ahead to pleat that part so that whatever you have on this part is going to be your round armhole measurement. So you're going to be pleating it this way at the center part so that you have something like this. As you can see, the sleeve is already having this puff structure like look. This is what you should have. So I'm going to go over my sewing machine to quickly do the pleat, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after making the pleat, this is what it is going to look like. As you can see, the sleeve is looking so beautiful already, and the structure came out very well. So what you should have at this point should be your round armhole measurement. This is what the sleeve is going to look like. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach it to the dress I've already made. Then I'll show you what it looks like. So after fixing the sleeve to my dress, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's looking so beautiful and it came out looking all nice. So you can go ahead to try yours. If this video was helpful to you, please don't forget to drop a like and a comment. And also, if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial.